Hello, everybody. I just actually wanted to take a second and jump on myself to talk a little bit about Straight Camp, a gay romp through despicably bad science. Just to give you guys a little bit more details, since I'm taking the confidence-shattering, pride-shattering step of asking friends and strangers for money, I figured I'd better put out a little bit of details. So, 12 or so years ago, I was intoxicated, and this lyric just sort of popped out of my head that became the basis for what Straight Camp would be. It was a very Ethel Merman. Then I was touched by Jesus in the penis, and he said, "Don't be gay." And that's really what drove this whole thing from the beginning. And I just kept doing this in my brain, like, oh, that's got to be a counselor who is trying to make a point, but is really just reinforcing the fact that this program doesn't work. So from that little nugget, I've been really fighting to try to figure out where to go. So I finally have most of a first draft. This one came in at 128. I've made some updates. It's over 200 pages now, so we're making some progress there. I started out with, I think, 6 lyrics for 6 songs. I've got lyrics, or at least lyrical concepts, for 11 songs now, which is really great. But that still doesn't answer your question, does it? What is Straight Camp, a gay romp through despicably bad science? Well, at its peak, at its essence, it is a satirical queer comedy that is about a group of teens that get sent to a conversion camp built on religious panic, fake science, gender policing, conditional love, and adult denial. It's a heavy subject, but it's an important subject because places like this still exist, and they're still really allowed to do mostly anything they want. The tone of this show really is what was the most important to me and what I was stumbling across when I was trying to figure out how to write this show. So I really kind of figured out it needs to live in the areas between like Mean Girls, the movie But I'm a Cheerleader, and the Book of Mormon. You know, it's got to be fast, it's got to be campy, but it's also kind of got to be honest and funny about how these places call help harm. Or call harm help, rather. So, I mean, and I created this show Bible so that no matter what I do, I'm consistently going with the tone that I want to set out. So, you know, rules. The campers are never going to be the punchline of this show. Their coping mechanisms can be funny, but their pain has to be real. I cannot make any of the campers a butt of the joke. The punchline is always upwards. It's towards the bad science, the institutional ego, weaponized faith, you know, all of the nonsense that makes you sit back and go, what the hell are these people thinking? You know, we've got to have that double-edged adult language of trying to seem caring, but really just menacing underneath. And I'm not a religious person, but I understand, you know, there are good aspects to religion. Not all religions are bad. Not everybody weaponizes it. So I do want to make sure that we're not weaponizing faith itself or villainizing faith itself. We really want to look at the people who take the message of Jesus, which is really kindness, compassion, empathy, and somehow read that to be hate, exclusion, and bigotry. Yeah. So... yeah, that's where we're at right now. I'm really just looking for a composer. I'm not a lyricist. I did my best. I at least got the structure of some of these songs where I want them, the messages that I want them to convey. We've got some really good songs, I think. The Science of Straight is one that I'm particularly proud of. It's kind of the one that introduces everybody in the audience to the camp and really demonstrates how batshit crazy their beliefs are. We've also got my actual all-time favorite is the finale, the closing number, which I've drafted, which is basically called No Qualifications. This is my favorite because it really subverts the entire scene of the entire show. Because, you know, for most of the camp, there's going to be this giant cross living on stage, or at least as I picture it. And by the end of the show, having these people just spout all of this nonsense, use scripture, what have you, basically Jesus just decides it's enough is enough, and that big cross that's been looming over everything slowly rotates into this giant lit up rainbow cross with an extremely sexy Jesus on it, who is basically just coming down to tell us, like, if you hear love thy neighbor with an asterisk, get the hell out of here. You don't have any support from us, including myself and my dad. Really, it's just about love not having qualifications, and everybody, accepting others for who they are, and not. I think there's a great button at the end of it where Jesus is just basically like, "Stop blaming my dad for your opinions, because it's not his fault." So yeah, I've rambled a little bit, but I've dealt with ADHD, writer's block, RSD, executive dysfunction, all of this for 12 years. I never once in my life thought that I'd be to a point where there's actually script on paper. Like, this isn't just a blank binder, y'all. There's actually like a script in here. I'm excited. So I need your help. I just need a little bit more to get this across the finish line, to get this in a state where I can workshop it, where I can start trying to get it into new play festivals. Maybe even try to put it on here locally. If you give me some money, I'll make sure that you're invited to those processes, that you get, a journey with me, and you get to watch this from where it's at now to where I want it to go, because the couple people that I've read experts to this love it. I honestly think that this, with the right composer, could be, and I don't want to use this lightly, but this could be a phenomenon if it is handled right. I need the money to get the right partner to the table. So thanks everybody. That's all I got.